But I don't want to keep our guest waiting any longer. JD Haughton from the Moose Jaw AAA Warriors. He is joining us on the Western Pizza Guest Hotline. JD, thank you for taking time.
How's it going?
Good. It's been a minute since we've had a chance to chat. It's exciting times in Moose Jaw right now.
Yes, obviously we just kicked off our playoff run last night with a 5-1 win over the Battleford Stars. So no, it's good.
Yeah, game 2 is going to be coming up tomorrow night against Battleford. So what's exciting you about this team? How would you describe this team to maybe a hockey fan who hasn't had a chance to watch the AAA Warriors play live yet?
I want to say I would describe it as a lot of depth. We have a lot of players returning that went through the playoffs last year. Obviously, we were swept by Regina in the final, but a lot of guys coming back with playoff experience. And I think that's going to help lead our team, especially the young guys, the guys that this is their, if they're a 15-year-old coming in or a 17-year-old that it's first year on the team, those guys are going to be able to help them kind of, help guide them through the playoffs and know what it takes to win. And I think that's a big thing that our team does know is what it takes to win in the playoffs. We had some, it was very dramatic last year. We came back in our second round series down 2-0, did a reverse sweep on Swift Current, and then came back also in our round 1 series against Estevan. And we're able to win both of those games in game 5s. So I would say probably depth, resiliency, things like that. Even last night, our guys were able, it was a 1-0 game for Battleford for about half of that game, and then they were able to come alive in that second period halfway through. So, I want to say resiliency and playoff experience and depth. We can score from our first down to our fourth line, and then obviously our defensemen can get in on the scoring as well.
You talked about some of those players who can set the tone coming off of last year. Who are some of those players that are stepping up and leading the charge? Single out a couple of them for us.
Obviously, our captain, Ryan Gibbs, he was a second-year player last year. He led our team in goals and points this year. He had 41 goals in the regular season. And then some of the guys that were first years last year, like a guy like Maxon Johnston, he's 6'2", he's a big guy, and he can really set the tone as well. And then we have some guys that can score: Max Fiesel, Carson Park, and then our goalie, Caleb Page. He had a little bit of playoff experience last year. But on defense, Tyler Hudek, Wade Franks, Hudson Sayers, we have a lot of guys that were on that team last year, went through the heartbreak and are looking for redemption this year.
The under-18 AAA League, JD, is all about player development and growth. What development and growth have you seen from your team this season?
I want to say we've had a season full of injuries. Back half of following Christmas, we were without 2 of our defensemen. We had some of our key forwards out. So I want to say the development, especially getting some of these other guys into roles where maybe they weren't expecting to be in, and making them and challenging themselves to get better. I want to say that's probably the biggest development I've seen from our team. And you even look at guys that have been with us for 3 years, like Ryan Gibbs or Carson Dykart, Moose Jaw kids that have been with us for 3 years, or Wade Franks as well on the back end. You see where they started at 15 and see where they are now. They've taken leaps and bounds on where they started. So, obviously our goal, our head coach's goal, his staff's goal, is to get these kids to the next level, and I think he's doing that right now.
Rivalries in hockey are fun. How sick and tired of the Moose are the Moose Jaw Warriors of hearing the names Liam Pugh and Maddox Schultz over and over again?
I'll be the first one to say that those are, they're 2 really special players, especially, a guy like Maddox Schultz. Like he came in, not many guys can come in to play U18 AAA hockey at 14 and then lead the league. So, they're great players. I think for our team, we want to take care of business on our own end, and then see what Regina does, and maybe we can get a little bit of redemption from last year.
Is that hard? Keeping that focus on the task at hand as opposed to not watching the score sheet to see what's happening between Regina and the Saskatoon Contacts, for example?
Yeah, and our players are gonna scoreboard watch as much as anybody else. Seeing kind of what they're doing, how with the success that they're having. They had a great season. They finished first. What was it? 3 points above us, and we were going neck and neck all season. And our season series, I think that they won it by a singular point. But it's always a great rivalry, and we're excited.
The Western Regionals are going to be held in Regina at the end of March. What does that mean for your team?
The goal for our team, we're gonna, we obviously we want to be there, and then that's a goal of our team, especially being so close to Moose Jaw. But I think right now the guys are focused on Battleford and just trying to on each game, and then trying to make it to the next round, and then to the league finals for the second year in a row. But I think it would be huge for our team, especially with the success that we've had not only this year but last year, growing this program and having the success that we've had. I think that would be real big for a lot of these kids, and it's a great experience.
It's kind of a hidden gem, and again, please don't reach out and grab your monitor in front of you right now. And the fact that under 18 AAA in Saskatchewan is special, and the fact that you may grow up in Saskatoon, but you've got an opportunity to go play in Moose Jaw, right? It's an opportunity to recruit and grow programs that way, and I find that uniqueness something truly captivating to follow. When you're assembling a team, how do you do it in Saskatchewan?
For our head coach and his scouting staff and his staff, they kind of. Our spring camp is a big recruiting aspect for our team. Like every other team, they have spring camps. They bring players in from all across the province, and some of them make our teams, and some of them don't. And you just have to try to get to find those kids that aren't going to those major centers as well. That you see something, and you take a guy like Hudson Sayers, for example. He's kind of like a little bit of a diamond in a rough. Found him, he was playing varsity at NAX, and then his parents agreed to come to Moose Jaw, and he had 51 assists this year, and he was fourth on our team in scoring as a defenseman, and second in defensive scoring in our league this year, I believe, or it might have been third. I can't remember, but it just kind of our staff. Our head coach and his scouting staff, they just try to do the best they can. I know Sask First is a big hot spot for a lot of scouts in our league. Try to find those younger guys to try to develop over 1, 2, 3 years. Try to bring them in. But it's a collective effort between our head coach and his staff, trying to find players and selling them on our program and the community of Moose Jaw.
JD Haughton is our guest, of course, Moose Jaw AAA Warriors. And I'll be the first to admit it, JD, I walk a very fine line when it comes to being a fan from Moose Jaw of hockey. And of course, I do in-stand stuff for the Regina Pats. We carry the broadcast for the Regina Pats. But there is still a very noticeable rivalry. And I want to just go back to that really quickly here, because I want your personal opinion. What do you think would give Moose Jaw a competitive edge over this current Pat C's roster?
Well, that's a loaded question.
I know. And that's why I prefaced it with the fact that I know this is a dangerous road that we're walking down, but I feel like I have the stripes to ask the question.
No, Tegan, I appreciate the question. Obviously, yes, we have a huge rivalry with Regina. This season, we 3 of the 4 games went to overtime. We won 2, they won 1, and then they beat us in regulation. I think for us, just for the team that our head coach Trevor Weisgerber has put together, if we can play a defensive game and shut down the stars of Regina, Nathan Gardner or Malachi Martin or Maddox Schultz or Liam Pugh, and kind of take away those, their shooting lanes and getting in front, blocking shots, and obviously a great goaltending as well has to be a big focus. But if we play as a team and defend well, I think we have a really good chance, especially 5-on-5. We're really good 5-on-5, especially with our speed and our depth. It's I guess that is my take on if the edge that we may have over Regina. But again, loaded question.
Yeah, I know.
And that would be why JD will never come on the program again.
Oh,
I'm
please.
kidding.
Yes.
Yeah. How have you balanced expectation with achievement in Moose Jaw? Because you talk to a lot of the people that observe and follow the league, and they said going in that Regina and Moose Jaw are so close in talent level that, again, they're going to have a big opportunity to go ahead and do special teams this year. And again, when you're in the midst of that conversation, sometimes you can get caught up in that conversation. How has Moose Jaw found that balance?
I think that for the group, I think hockey is supposed to be fun. And I know that is so cliche to say, especially at this high a level, but I think for these kids just to enjoy the moment and enjoy every single second of this season, I think is a big part of it. And then just making sure that they're focused. And a lot of these guys on the team are very focused. They're very goal orientated. They know what they wanted to do before coming into the season. Making the Circle K Classic was one of those goals. They achieved that. Obviously finishing one, first or second in the regular season, they achieved that. And then going into playoffs, I think just being as successful as they can. I think, these are student athletes. They have to balance school and travel, midweek games. And then the grind that it comes in playoffs, it doesn't get any easier either. So, the guys that Trevor has put together are very focused, and that's something that he really tries to teach these kids, to come into each game to be mentally focused and prepared and ready to do your job, but also enjoy it and have fun, because the memories that these kids have made over this regular season or last season as well, for those returning guys, those are moments that you're never going to forget. And I think just to take it one game at a time, one shift at a time, one period at a time, I think is kind of especially in the playoffs is the only way moving forward.
Your roster is built with grade 10, 11, and 12s. How do you balance that schooling aspect? Because obviously that's a key component in your high school years.
I can't say enough for our two schools that we deal with, Peacock Collegiate and Vanier Collegiate. They really set these guys up for success and understand the schedule, especially in the playoffs, and the grind that these kids go through. But a lot of these kids are very focused on school as well. So they take it very seriously. So, when they have time, maybe on an off day or whatever, they'll try to push ahead knowing that they have a busy schedule, coming up the next week. So a lot of these kids are very academically, obviously smart, but motivated as well. We have a lot of our players are in the 90 and up percent averages, and it is a grind, especially for these first year guys, these grade 10s that come in that don't know that we play a 44 game schedule, practice almost every day, and then we play on weekends and weeknights. So it's a tough schedule, but with our school partners, and obviously with a lot of these kids being education motivated, it makes it very easy.
There's another education component that a lot in the hockey world are talking about right now, which is NCAA. And of course, you got to start writing your SATs and all that fun stuff. Has that changed? Have you seen that change in the last couple of years since junior players were able to be admitted into the NCAA programs?
I'm just going from my own kind of observation of our league, and I think it's a little early to tell in our league, but you are seeing a lot of kids coming back for their last year of minor hockey just because that NCAA rule change is allowing WHL teams to take those players. So they're taking, some 18-year-olds, some 19-year-olds, which before the rules would have changed, before the rules were changed, you would have taken, a 17-year-old kid from that wouldn't come back and play AAA for his last year. So I want to say that a lot of teams are getting their 17-year-olds back in our league. But I think right now it's too early to tell the full breakdown of that rule change in our league. But I know since it happened, definitely a lot more older guys are coming back.
Now, Moose Jaw is certainly a hockey town, and I imagine that there's still some type of relationship with the WHL Warriors. So are you and the rest of the crew down there communicating with them at all? You guys taking in some games, scoreboard watching?
Oh, 100%. Our players love going to the Warrior games. It's, for them, it's an added benefit of playing here in Moose Jaw, getting to play in a WHL rink, but also cheer on a Western Hockey League team. And, we have 4 Moose Jaw Warriors prospects on our team: Tobin Schaefer, Chase Peterson, Maxon Johnston, and Carson Dykart. So obviously there's a lot of communication between head coach Trevor Weisgerber and general manager Jason Ripplinger and head coach Mark O'Leary with the Warriors. Actually, a lot of our Warriors prospects do go out and practice on a weekly basis with the big club, but there's a lot of communication. We're very close, and I also do the play-by-play for our team. So me and James Gallo are very we're in constant communication. So he helps me hone my skills as well. So it's a great relationship that we have. Our dressing room's 10 feet from there, so definitely a very good relationship.
What's the benefits of that relationship?
Some hand-me-down practice jerseys.
Yard sale.
No, there's obviously a player's aspect too. Because we commit to our players before they're drafted, so that might help. I'm not always in those conversations. That's more of our head coach and Jason Ripplinger type of conversation. But obviously having 4 Warriors draft picks prospects on our team, and that does help, especially with growing that relationship. And any Saskatchewan kids that they're looking at maybe possibly drafting, they give us a heads up. It's just I can't say enough good things about the organization. They're community owned, they're community focused. They support our team as well. With playing some interviews that I do for them of our guys on the radio, kind of really showcasing our guys as well, outside of their prospects and draft picks. So that's really good.
What do you need to do to be successful against Battlefords? You've got game 1 in hand, but it's always a long series and you never know what's going to happen.
In Battleford, they're a tough team. They play physical. They got speed, and they take advantage of the opportunities that they do get. I think us we travel up to Battleford. It's obviously a long drive for us and a tough place, a smaller rink. I think for us, just our guys just keeping their composure, because that first 10 minutes of that first period is going to be pretty loud. They're going to have their home fans with noisemakers, all that stuff, screaming and shouting for their team. So I think for our guys just to keep their composure, stay focused, and just kind of stick to the game plan. And I think we got great goaltending in game 1. I don't see that not being the thing in game 2. But I think we have a lot of depth. So if we can, our guys can capitalize on the power play and capitalize on the chances that they're given, we should be fine. But Battleford is, they're a tough team, and I give them a lot of credit.
I'm going to ask you probably the toughest question now, JD, and now he's definitely not going to come back on the show.
Yeah, I can see this.
Shamrock Shakes, yes or no?
Oh, that's a hard yes for me. I love those Shamrock Shakes.
Dave's not into it, but I feel like he's being outnumbered here. We're keeping a tally.
I think I have to go to the doctor after for high blood pressure. But they're worth they're worth the wait for sure.
There's a reason they're only around seasonally, JD.
Yes, 100%, 100%.
Of course, JD Haughton from the Moose Jaw AAA Warriors joining us on the Western Pizza Guest Hotline. Really appreciate the time here today. This was fun, JD.
Yeah, thank you again, Tegan. Yeah, I know it's been a slice.
Well, we'll have to do it again, maybe when the Pats and Warriors see each other down the road.
We'll see. If that's
he's not
that's
jinxing
the
anything.
case, I would gladly come back on the show if that's the case.
Okay. Well, that sounds like a plan, JD. Thanks so much again.
Okay, thank you.